Yeah, the guys are laughing.
The guys all...
The guys are all laughing. That's why I do it, because it's kind of like
Let me take the lights out.
yeah.
Oh, for anyone.
Well, it's cool for me.
Yeah.
It's like, I just go out there and it used to go off now. So my daughter, I want to get online, but you like it. I didn't have kids around for allowing it. I have to get 10 times more. You can talk to these people and it's around $3. She always knows that she can an update on what's transparent. She's so cute. She gets away with it. So anyway, so she knows that. I don't buy it because I don't get it. Yeah, it's always
You know what, you know what I believe before they take it down, all gum up over there. All the sweat of tears. You're, I gotta say, blood. Oh
It's interesting.
Yeah. I can.
Let's do a quick all-community meeting. I know we're late on this. We're waiting for basically a few people to come. So before the regular board meeting, let's go ahead and jump into a couple reports here. This is for the all committees meeting. Okay, so reference to that. Okay, just something real quick, and I brought it up, and this is on the executive side on my piece there. This is just for mention, okay? We brought it up during the candidates forum in reference to the response that we received back from Governor concerning the bus stops. I did make a quick announcement during the candidates forum, and of course we had several community representatives, I guess, for community residents for that were here and had received that. And I'd like to go ahead and kick that out again to make sure that we get full understanding of what the governor's response was to our letter requesting some sort of follow-up action on the community concerns for the movement of the bus stops. And we were talking about 3 bus stops on Fort River Road at that time. If you remember, we sent out a letter back in August. I believe it was August the 2nd we sent that letter out. And it was received and responded on August the 29th. So if there's no objections from the committee, I'd like to make that as an announcement to our regular board meeting. Okay? Most of you guys, I believe, if you remember it from last month, heard it. But I'm going to actually read it in depth. Okay? Just to let you know, just kind of go over a couple things. And basically, that's about me. Everything else was just basic announcements, which really occurred last month. And unless you feel that we need to bring them up, I think we should be good. Other than that, I noticed some things on the minutes that came out. You guys all received the minutes from September. Okay, and the things that I noticed on there was second page, or I'm sorry, yeah, page 2 at the very bottom, a reference to the military. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that we haven't had military representation for about 4 months. 4 months. Do I remember? Alsett Street. Is that about right? I think it's been about 4 personally. 4 and 3? Yeah, okay. I'm going to suggest, of course, That was the report that I saw at the September meeting, and I'm going to suggest that the commission, our neighborhood commission, makes contact with the military to see what's the deal. We do need to get some continual follow-ups or annual reports for whatever's happening in the military community in our area. Correct? Sounds good? Okay, that's just another quick note. Okay, page 3 on the minutes. Right at the very top says proposed Wampa Raceway Park. There was some language in there from September that suggested that we were going to put out a letter. Was that done? Do we know? Okay, I did not get a request to do that. That's why I'm asking. Anybody know? Is that letter?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, so we probably need to follow up on that.
I think this one was just brought up at September meeting.
Okay, it was brought up in the September meeting, but it also said that a letter was to be sent from this board. And I'm just questioning if that was done.
I don't know if this one, Kurt, I don't know if he would follow up with you on that.
Okay, second paragraph, same area. Second paragraph, right about the third line down, it says that this particular issue will be placed on the November agenda. I did not get any requests to put it on the agenda. Anybody recall that?
I can do for that and then try.
Okay, these are just a couple things as I was reading through the minutes. I just had questions on personal. Civil defense, I understand they were supposed to show up. We had them scheduled for September.
Okay, we had specify that you want the state or the city.
No. Civil defense contacted us, said they were coming. They did not show.
No, what I'm saying is that Oahu Civil Defense now is the Department of Emergency Management.
Well, whoever, somebody contacted us from civil defense, said they were coming. I don't know what office. Yeah, I don't care what office. They didn't show up. So, should we contact them? I guess it's a really question. Since they didn't show up, did anyone else make contact? Or should we follow up? Because the point that I understood at the time that we had to call and place them on the agenda is that they were having a new system being put in place in Everett Beach, and they wanted to apprise the community on the new system and how it's going to work.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. That's going to be under the Department of Emergency Management.
Whichever department, whoever called up, sent email, said they were going to be here. And I think, just for continuity's sake, I think we need to make sure we follow again to find out, first of all, why they didn't come. Second of all, when are they going to schedule again? So I think that's information in reference to emergency services that we need to have as a community.
If I can add, there's a woman by the name who's the Deputy Director of City and County Emergency Services, and she attends the Howard Neighborhood Board meetings for the mayor's representative. Since that's just a stone's throw away, that would be the ideal person who could provide any insight to this.
Okay, well, what I can do is also, I can go back to my emails and pull this individual that sent us the initial request and follow through on that.
To clarify that, the emergency services, okay, is the paramedics.
Okay. All right.
That's the EMS part.
Okay. Let's not get the departments confused. I'm only talking about civil service. Warning civil service.
Right.
Okay. Basically, what I was asking is, was there any follow-up from the September's meeting to whoever didn't show up?
We can do it on January because it will be next year.
Okay, it'll come down to this. I'll handle it, and I'll go back to the main contract with me initially. Said that they were coming in September, and see when they can come out again, and we'll get them online with that. So we'll add them on.
Try to finish this thing from the city.
Okay. Last item, page 4. Second paragraph. Berg and the use for a whole PE project. Let's see, some content to the agenda. Okay. This was a request to go or have Ho'opili project placed on the agenda. And you guys did a motion, unanimous. Again, it's just a follow-up. Do we know what happened with that? Do we know if there's any follow-up?
Yeah, within a week of September's meeting, I had sent an email to Nola Frank with the language and the parties to be emailed.
Okay, we don't know.
I have no idea.
So I'll inquire with Nola. Again, I'm just trying to follow up on some of the stuff that we put out. And then, so we can be back on track here.
Yeah, it's
So
really
in
good
double.
schools down here.
Right, okay. Okay, just a couple quick questions I had. That's about it. Okay. Next. Anybody from Parks and the Body, Planning the Body? Okay, Tom?
Yeah, very quickly, on October 2nd, the Legislative Committee had called a meeting at Asing Park to bring DTS Director Wayne Yoshioka here to discuss the proposed 20-mile segment of the rail, which would be from East Kapolei to Ala Moana Shopping Center. And the proposed discussion, for discussion purposes, was to ask if our property taxes would have to be raised or any other funding tax mechanism proposed to bring the so-called 20-mile segment to completion. And the antecedents to the meeting had discussed whether or not maintenance and operations were a factor in the proposed, at that time, $3.7 billion segment. DTS Director Wayne Yoshioka had provided a wonderful presentation, of which is airing as we speak, Sundays on Olelo, Channel 54, 7 p.m. The meeting was filmed. It's on public access television. And in the 20-minute presentation by Wayne Yoshioka, he had alluded to that there would not be any such tax increment of property or otherwise, or a request to the state legislature for any funds to augment that proposed 20-mile segment. However, of the full 34-mile segment going to Waikiki and to the terminus of UH Manoa, that would take an excess fund amount to bring to full fruition. So with that said, that was October 2nd's meeting. We had, I think, a good attendance. Scott Belford was there, a board member, and he had provided comments on transit-oriented development. Again, if you want to see it on television, you can see the dialogue that took place. We had board member Kurt Favela there as well, and there was a pretty good engagement, I think, regarding some of the specific questions that were answered. Then on October 30th, the Legislative Committee had called a meeting to order at Asing Park at 7 p.m., and that was to discuss the Constitutional Convention. To convene that, Board Member Steve was there, Board Member Belford and Barry Bautista were there. And in that meeting on October 30th, what we had done is we were predominantly looking at whether a constitutional convention convened such, how it would pertain to the community of Eva at large. In other words, we could discuss everything under the sun. However, we really wanted to hone in my opinion, as a legislative chair, on what a CONCON could do for us for Eva Beach. What would be the significance of that? So we left it at an open discussion. That too was filmed, and that will be provided on Olelo at a future date that I can provide, notify us via email. But I foresee that running as a special on its own air date time, and I'll provide that at a later time. Now, bringing to the present, that's past. Present is that we have a 25th legislative body convening in the third week of January of 2009. What this board has historically done is brought together a community, the board, at a meeting whereby we would generate our own legislative agenda. What do we want out of our elected officials? What are the CIP monies we want them to bang the door down for? So with that said, we have predominantly been after the fact. It's been a very timely issue of the legislative body has got a 60-day session. They don't have time to hear us out because we weren't prepared, or vice versa. So I want to propose the following. It's November. And I would like to say is that I would conduct a meeting outside of the regular neighborhood board, regularly scheduled meeting, and I would make that announcement where it would be duly sent, meet sunshine. And we would then solicit the community, and I want to bring in Scott Belford's expertise, and I would like to have the meeting here at the Eva Beach Public School Library for the following reason. Unbeknownst to me, Asing Park is not wired. So if we could have our legislative community meeting, imagine this, folks, we can have people calling in. We can have people listening in at their home and say, you guys are discussing a legislative action, CIP action. They could email us, they could follow in, Scott, from my understanding, you could broadcast this, Johnny, on the spot. We would be, I believe, out of some 35 boards on the island of Oahu, we would be the only board that would really be bending over backwards to bring dialogue and discussion in with the community at large for generating an agenda for our legislative elected officials. So with that said, I will have a legislative meeting, coordinate with Scott, bring this forward, whereby come January's meeting, on the second Thursday of January, we have provided for a request to our elected officials to generate an agenda for us. That we, instead of in the past, our elected officials write bills and give us a bill number, and we go, pick and choose, I don't like that, I like that, nah. We're gonna have a plan, and we're gonna generate that in advance. So with that said, I'll bring that up tonight. If there's time, coordinate, Scott, we'll get together and pick the date at which we can have the meeting here so we can bring it on webcast live. We're talking 21st century technology leading the pack.
Okay, all right, sounds good. And let me add to that, in your particular position, and I assume you're still working on that?
No,
Okay, okay, well, what I'm saying is you have some accessibility to information in that respect.
No greater than anyone else here?
Okay, well, a little bit more dedicated if I remember correctly. At any rate, I like to utilize that position to exactly what you're saying, because I agree. I think we need to really steer our elected officials to what this community needs in that respect. And as those issues are being raised, we should put it on the responsibility of our elected officials, hopefully to spearhead it for us. And that's what it's all about. And with this board, we need to make sure that we do a follow-up action every time we put out something to them. We do a follow-up action to see what kind of results that we get from that. I think that's a very good point. And believe it or not, I was thinking about that earlier today because new elected officials on board, we need to make sure they're on the same sheet of music as the community is in order to uphold this community.
So the timeline, Chair, would be the following. First week in December, meeting call at Pebble Beach Public School Library where we are. Provide a report to the full board for action to take in December. Thereby in January, we can engage our elected officials, whereby in January they can then do the bill introduction. Because if we don't have that window that I just explained executed, we then, again, after the fact, we're unable to give those bills provided to our elected officials in advance. So that's the schedule that, in my opinion, we're going to have to adhere to make it work.
Okay. The only comment I have, anybody else have a comment here? No? Okay. The only comment that I have is with respect to that, as you notice on your agenda that came out in the mail, we're looking at a possible recess for December. However, that's not taken away from what your intent is to hold a legislative committee meeting in order to address those issues and send them forward. I would say that from that, probably the best thing to do is let's send an email to make sure of what's being presented and then make sure that we're following through.
And are we open-ended on having not a hiatus for December, but still having a full board meeting?
It's open-ended. It's on the agenda as discussion.
Great.
So it's really up to the board if we want to do a recess in December. I'll say this in past term and a half now that I've been in the seat. We have not had any recesses at all. We actually went able to stick through. And that's why I was prompted on this particular agenda. Oh, I thought you had it.
No, it's not even seeing people so we can vote.
This is just a committee is going to vote again.
Now, can I bring something else forward? That's under the purview of the legislative committee. That would be a development plan on October 25th on a Saturday. Scott Belford was there, and I believe you recorded this, and you could put this on YouTube. Do you have an update for us if that is on YouTube?
It's not, but ironically, I am migrating those video files from one machine to another.
Excellent. Excellent. If I can then further add, is that the Epic Development Plan on October 25th that we had a meeting on, testimony is needed by end of January. Now, the EVA Development Plan is that document that stands for 5 years to provide the direction of what roads, what are impact fees, what roads qualify for impact fees, are we going to have a marina, are we going to have connecting roads, all these types of interplays with the UH West development and development in general per se are needed of comment by end of January. In my opinion, the EVA Development Plan warrants a full-fledged discussion of greater magnitude of 10 minutes of presentation, but rather community input. So with that said, again, if we're going to be on time to provide testimony at the January 2nd Thursday full regularly scheduled board meeting, we would need to, in my opinion, have that full discussion in December, so that we can also give our community members more time to engage in this very important topic.
Yeah, this is one of those things that we're trying to ask ourselves to be on the board, and we should probably ask ourselves to find some time to really look at and have some collective voice behind it. You're saying, Tom, that you would think that a larger chunk of time in December to use, or if we don't have a regular meeting in December, that we have a meeting in December to address this, or what was your suggestion?
On the agenda for discussion of having a board meeting in December, I would make my pitch at such time that we have to have our meeting in December and allocate such a chunk at that time for deriving that of which we can come to a consensus that we can provide testimony and input, and that we can always amend in time by January 30th. So if we at least have some kind of a draft.
Testing.
It should go back to the community in January's minutes.
1, 2, 3.
That we can review and ask, because we're not going to all be experts here and get the answers at December's meeting. So we need to really have more than one go at it.
What if we decided, or what if the chair of the committee proposed the regular meeting?
So this is one.
Next month, we don't have a regular board meeting, but we have a meeting where maybe we even ask Mr. Stanfield to come and present to the board and dedicate that session to that development plan, since he deals with traffic and development. It might satisfy the needs of everyone. So we do a full regular board, full agenda of board meeting.
So in other words, just waive the report, but just have on the agenda the EVA development plan presentation
Is that what you're suggesting?
by Stanfield.
Like we had to create the regular meetings of the reports for the standard forms the last few months. I don't know the big things like Parkfield, Falcon Road, and Stanfield, like come out and flyers, tripods.
I concur. I think that would be the right thing to do for December's meeting, to be fully engaged, where we waive all other board business and then have a EVA development plan with the Department of Planning and Permitting. With the Department of Planning and Permitting, Mr. Stanfield, he gave a presentation to Capolet's neighborhood board. He was there last month to bring them up to speed. We do not have that engagement, so I think it's a good on-the-money comment that we should execute. Yeah.
Members may want to do some family stuff over Christmas, can't be with us, that allows them to feel like they're not missing part. Anything, Steve?
Yeah, as long as it's a committee meeting, I'm fine. There's two reasons why I'd like to not have a meeting, a board meeting in December. One is to let our assistant have more time, with family and so on and so forth. But also because I think it's not necessary if we're going to do such little business. I've been to board meetings that have been held in these times, and usually not well attended, and like a third to two-thirds. I've been to board meetings where they actually didn't have enough members to conduct a meeting. So because of family and whatever. So I'd like to make it as unofficial as possible and not take the time of the neighborhood board assistant. And I don't mind. I have no problem. But I don't want to make it official type. But everybody has to be here, and we have to do a big song and dance.
Okay, that kind of comes in line with what I was suggesting. I like the idea that you want to bring it up and as a meeting on your legislative committee to bring that issue. But as I indicated earlier, it might be something from the committee that results in that meeting that you meet all the board members to let them know where we are, what kind of feedback that you're looking at that we can present to the January legislature.
The potential of that, I'm okay with. We could put it under the guise of the legislative committee and acquiesce to a board meeting for the month of December. However, I'm going to add 2 other ingredients to this scenario. We have a D.R. Horton proposal for the city and county of Honolulu, of which we've given our board chair and vice chair authority to give comment to any committee on D.R. Horton. However, in the comment, this board hasn't conjured up any statement. In other words, we have the East-West Connected Road being of validity. We have Healy's proposed high school being of validity that the board has already taken action on. But nobody's crafted. Again, the severity of the importance of D.R. Horton's 1,600 acres for the city and county of Honolulu is of magnitude. Second of all, we have the Seiko's development also going through the permitting process, whereby its drainage of 27-hole golf course scaled down to 18 holes. It's Eva Marina possibly not serving the ferry service, also of magnitude. These are things that, in my opinion, are of such interplay with the community's discussion that if we take a hiatus in December, we're reeling in the facts of having the board and then January have to put a legislative package together, possibly after the fact on D.R. Horton, possibly no interplay again with Seiko, and we're out of the loop on the evidence development plan because the community wants more time. So if I were to put this all under the legislative committee under lump sum, thereby I think the attendance would be low. I do believe we would have a full scale of board members. I'd be scrambling for someone to take the meeting, and then I'd be trying to provide a full report back to the board, of which, in my history of experience, the community says, I'm not satisfied with that legislative committee meeting. I want it to come to the full board. So I could two-step Johnny this thing every month. But I really think it needs to be before the board because of the agenda I just mentioned. D.R. Horton, the stakeholder drainage issues, Eva Marina, Eva Development Plan, legislative committee meeting that we have to cram down in all of January if we don't meet next month.
Okay, which is also one of the things that we just looked over from September's meeting. The minutes there, which was identifying specifically that school project that you're talking about, and apparently nothing was done about it. So it's why I have to follow up now.
Right.
So that's one issue that you just talked about in September. I wasn't here, so nothing apparently got
Maybe no one's got an update on that. Yeah, good.
And we'll check with that. But, this is not one of those things that, hey, we never do it all, and we got to push it through right now. We know that it has to be taken care of. But again, in my opinion, I think that we may be able to satisfy that action with the legislative committee and deal with the holidays and all this other stuff that was discussed. Again, that's still up for discussion, but that's just the views of what we're looking at now. It really depends on the rest of the board and how we feel, on this particular issue. But the issues that you brought up for discussion and for action, for us to be looking at legislative, taking full action, is valid. I think it's something that we definitely look at, especially this coming year.
So one that's not much of
January 30th. That's the Eva Development Plan, and I really think that the community is going to want 2 staffs to do this. We haven't met since 1997. The plan was delayed. So since 1997, in a growing community to 2008, we are so far behind, and at the meeting of October 25th, it was pretty much conveyed that way that there was not a satisfactory position by some of the community members that this has been done in a manner where we've engaged back and forth.
Okay, well, we'll leave it for discussion at this particular point. Unless we have any other comments, real quick comments, we're still in committee. We're going to adjourn committee.
And this is test three.
I'm sorry.
Next on our matter request. Specifics? Any specifics? Okay. Whatever's happening in the area. I think that's possible.
Test.
I just wanted to.
Okay.
But it's not really seven, and I haven't done my report.
I'm sorry, we took up some time.
I'm not going to be quick.
Okay. Try to do your report.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to start.
There's only two others here at 6 o'clock.
It was working.
First time.
So then I'll be giving out, just want to make sure it's
It works. Yeah, see?
the first committee report on things that I've addressed, continuing my role as transportation chair. This would include attending that committee meeting at Department of Homeland where the other development was discussed. And on behalf of the community, one of the concerns that I raised to the city and county representatives who were there presenting that development plan to us was my own concern that the most important highways not being currently discussed were the fiber to the business, the fiber to the home highways. And I asked that the development plan be amended to request that we have fiber to the premise and carrier neutral a carrier neutral community fiber networks as part of the future development. And the other thing, on behalf of the neighborhood board in my capacity as traffic and transportation chair, I attended another meeting that was a legislative committee meeting because it had City and County Director Wayne Yoshioka discussing transit-oriented development on our behalf. I attended and made it a point to speak in favor of the potential economic development opportunity for transit-oriented development, and cited some examples in the Bay Area where transit-oriented development combined with good consideration of what academic institutions or along the transit development that can lead to the type of economic development we're looking for. And then next, in the capacity is of UMPO, I attend a monthly meeting, the UMPO Citizens Advisory Committee meeting, and this last month the meeting involved a discussion between the city and those advocates for a technology other than rail. And we know that the voters had a chance to decide on what they wanted. There was a discussion held in which both sides, if you will, presented their perspective. And perhaps the fourth thing I've done this last month in the capacity of traffic concerns was when the city and county came out of the community to present their proposal on the rail technology. And there I had the chance to ask whether or not we were considering funding sources other than the federal Department of Transportation, given that our elevated fixed guideway created economic development opportunities from federal entities other than just transit. For instance, Department of Energy looking for technologies that use alternative energy, or even the Department of Defense. So those are the four meetings I've attended and done my best on behalf of the community to express our desire for some innovation and more solutions, more accountability for our traffic needs. Thank you.
Here, can you just start on those meetings, was there anything specific that came up out of that addresses our community specifically?
These are our chances, kind of like the development plan with us, like testimony and our sort of registered in some official ways, and I'd like to see just empower them to change. It's things like that, we have a development plan, and our comments there can help some of our contributions.
Okay. Board, any other comments or conversation? No? Glenn, you have something?
I want to kind of refresh the board on the neighborhood board plan. We had a meeting at Tom and Scotty was here, and I think everybody was under the impression it was an open forum, but it wasn't. It was just the community people that should review the thing and have input into that. No politicians, no developers. Okay, that was the target place. The other thing too was that if people are not familiar with the neighborhood board plan, development plan, it's a vision plan. Okay, it was put together in the early 90s by two boards, Kapolei Neighborhood Board and then Ever Beach Neighborhood Board. And then we had a vision of how the whole region is looking like. So we came out with this, with the city facilitating the whole discussion.
Okay, we got everybody here? Okay. All right, first of all, let me say thank you very much for everybody that's attending this evening. Mike? Mike? Mike who? Oh, you want me to use the mic? Okay.
Bottom mic, please.
Okay. Wait a minute. We're on.
Use that microphone.
Okay, how's that? All right. All right, I want to thank everybody for attending this evening. And with that, the Ever Neighborhood Board number 23 regular meeting agenda, regular meeting will come to order. Okay. Before we do the introduction of board members, I want to say thank everybody for the last 2 months for bearing with us for September as we conducted question and answers for our candidates, candidate hopefuls at that point, and then of course for the candidate forum last month in October. I think it was well received. I think everybody personally, I believe we did a good job allowing the candidates to give the community a little overview of what they intend to do for us in this upcoming session. So I want to again thank the candidates first of all for their running, and also for the community for participating in our forum at that time. Okay, introduction of board members, please. Roll call.
Monica Kaka. Here. Gary Bautista.
Here.
Scott Belfort.
Present.
Tom Berg.
Here.
Ariel V. Jesus.
Here.
Kurt Favela.
Here.
Faith Kessel. Rich Hargrave.
Here.
Steve Nauer.
Here.
Celeste LaQuesta. Mitchell Tenanis.
Here.
9 board members present.
All right, thank you very much. We're going to jump right into board business, reviewing acceptance of the regular minutes or meeting minutes from September 11th. Okay, board members, you should have the minutes with you. Is there any corrections or comments? Okay, can I get a motion, please? Okay.
Motion.
All right, motion made and seconded. In reference to the minutes, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you very much. Moving right along. Treasury's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Treasurer's report, effective October 2008, operating budget balance $1,117.41. Operating budget goes towards facility rental and printing. Last month we spent $73.48. Publicity, that's our videotaping. We do our invoicing every couple of months, so we currently have a balance of $2,150 out of an annual budget of $2,500. And our esteemed refreshment budget at $120 remains untouched.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. This is for board discussion. Actually, I'm going to back up a second. First of all, let me remind the community that we do have a time limit policy in place, and to provide fair opportunity for all, time limits are established for all issues. The rules are: public input, 1 minute per speaker. No person will speak more than once on a single topic until and after all others had a chance to speak. All presentations will be limited to 10 minutes. Follow-up questions and answers will be limited to 1 minute per person. And the board chair may allow extended time for a speaker on a case-by-case basis. The board may take action on any agenda item as required by the Sunshine Law. Specific issues not noted on the agenda cannot be voted on unless properly added to the agenda. Okay, now with that, we're going to go ahead and go to item 4C, which is board business. I'd like to have a discussion with the board in reference to December board meeting recess.
Chair.
Tom?
Board members and community members, for the month of December, if we took a hiatus traditionally where we would not meet to celebrate our holidays, I believe that we should forego that, and we have to hit the grindstone. We have some time limit restrictions placed upon us to provide public comment on the EVA development plan due by January 30th of this year. I, as the Legislative Committee Chair, would also like to bring forward a new opportunity to engage the community ahead of time, whereby we would have full board action to provide our elected officials with our generated bills for them to provide and steer on our behalf, rather than in the past we've had our legislators introduce bills and we've picked and choose which bills we would like out of them. And so we're going to reverse that process and ask our elected officials if they could shepherd these on our behalf. So with that said, we have Haseko development, so that's the third item. We have a status on Haseko that this community, in my opinion, is not fully apprised and astute to, and that would be on drainage issues and also on a marina in the Haseko's Ocean Point Marina. And also we have D.R. Horton. This board had taken action, I believe it was 2 months ago, to provide that we would provide our chair and vice chair to go before the city county council and provide testimony. Right now, the testimony that they would be able to provide would be on East-West Connector Road and the opposition to a high school at the Honowai Street intersection with Cunha Road. Those agenda items said are 4 agenda items. If we were to take a hiatus in the month of December, that would be a lot of business to churn out in the month of January, and I just don't think it possible. And I think for the EVA development plan, and predominantly, that's going to require more engagement with the Kapolei Neighborhood Board as well. So with that said, I'm all in favor of this board having a full meeting in the month of December.
Okay, thank you. Any other board members' comments? Who's good? Gary?
In the past four years, we have not taken a break for December. Other boards have taken that. I don't see any reason why we should, because we got too much work to do. So I am in favor of continuing on for that December meeting.
Thank you, Gary. Anybody else?
So, Chair, so we have to make a motion, or how are we going to word this?
Right now, this is a discussion. I want to get a feel from the board and what their concerns are about the break for December, a holiday period.
Yeah, we have too much on our table to take a break. Thank you.
Monique?
Are we able to focus primarily on those 4 issues and not have a full meeting?
In my personal opinion, I think we might be able to. I have to refer back to Tom and see if he thinks we've been able to address those issues that he has brought up. Tom?
I apologize. Could you repeat the question?
Okay, the question was, I'll allow you to do it.
Are we able to focus primarily on those 4 issues and not have the full meeting? Are we asking if we're going to have a full meeting or just focus on those 4 issues?
If the legislative committee were to convene in the first week of December, it would have to then go for any action before the full board. So with that said, if we did meet in the first week of December to have of the 4 items legislative on that chalkboard there, to give our legislative elected officials an agenda of our own, we would have to have the full board then in January entertain that. So if we had the board in December entertain that action of the legislative committee of December first week, that way we have the ability for the community to have a second chance to get the meeting minutes mailed to their home and say, you know, I couldn't weigh in on the EVA development plan. I really appreciate you giving me a second opportunity. And that's really what meeting in December would be all about, is that people, the folks that couldn't tune in, got a second opportunity.
Okay, Scott? I'm sorry, did you have a follow-up? Okay, Scott.
It would be nice, understandably, some board members may need to attend to family and other things in the holidays, but there's a lot of people on the TV land who are interested in learning about some of these issues that Tom has discussed. And given that our input to our legislative leaders as they go forth into this session is relevant, as well as they have the development plan, which really needs some attention. I'm for some meeting, be it a hybrid meeting, but certainly in favor of us using this regular time and having our friends from Campbell getting it on the television so more people have a chance to know what's happening.
Okay, thank you. Can we go ahead and...
Mr. Chair, can I weigh in on this?
Sure, go ahead.
Because those items, the Haseko update and the Horton Ever development plans, I want to see if I can, probably you guys would entertain the idea of referring it to committees. Then it can be really hashed out within the committee instead of coming to the full board and then hashing it out there. But I know in the past we haven't had a quorum, nor have we had the attendance from the community to engage in committee discussions. But the EVA development plans I see is one of the topics, and really it hinges upon the DR Horton, which is the whole Peely development. The EVA development covers all of that. And if we're going to discuss Horton, and mind you, if we're going to discuss Haseko, which is also in the EVA development plans, I think we should be having a full board in the committee, and the EVA development plan should be the main topic. So my recommendation is that we hash it out in the committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other comments from the board? Any other comments from the community? Okay, Steve?
Yeah, before we get past this, if we do have a board meeting, I think it'll be a good idea to excuse like the reports and allow our elected officials, a breather and let them come another time, maybe, unless they have something to say as a citizen or want to participate that way. There are a lot of people that donate their time in public safety, our elected officials, our neighborhood board assistant. These people come to the meeting and they have families and stuff too. I don't mind coming. I have no problem in appearing in either a committee forum or, kind of an unstructured board meeting where we allow these other portions of our board meeting to go. We did that the last 2 months, so I don't think there'll be any reason why we shouldn't do that this time. So if we meet as a board, I think that we should allow those people that come to give us information, we should let them off the hook and allow them to have December off while the community and the board members go to work on these other subjects.
Okay, thank you. What I'd like to do is call for a motion is.
I'd like to make a motion, Chair.
Good.
The motion would be that the Evan Neighborhood Board convene at its regularly scheduled meeting on the second Thursday of December with the following. That the recommendation that a waiver apply to all elected officials and other reports are waived, and the full attention of the regularly scheduled meeting be to accommodate the Evan development plan.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
Only the Evan?
Well, Evan development plan, legislative committee report.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, any opposed? No abstain? Okay, carries. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Moving right along. Our reports. Whole fire department, please. Are you in-house? There you go. All right, thank you.
Good evening, Chairperson Rich Hargrave, board members and residents of Pebble Beach. Here is the statistics for the month of October. We had 9 rubbish fires, 2 vehicle fires, 82 medical calls, 2 search and rescue, and 16 miscellaneous. No significant incidents in that month. Fire safety tip. This holiday season, consider a fire-resistant artificial Christmas tree. If you purchase a natural tree, choose one as fresh as possible. Keep it hydrated and keep it away from heat sources in the house. Use non-combustible materials for decorations. Choose only Underwriters Laboratory-approved electrical decorations and follow manufacturer's instructions for installation and load. Do not overload extension cords. B. Holiday family gatherings often include extensive food preparation and visiting guests. As a significant portion of home fires originate in the kitchen, do not leave cooking unattended. Have an ABC-rated fire extinguisher available near the kitchen and learn to use it. Turn off the heat if you must leave the stove, even if only for a few minutes. Never wear long, loose-sleeve clothing while cooking. Turn the handles on pots and pans inward to prevent accidents. Keep children away from the kitchen. If you're hosting overnight guests, share your home escape plan with them, including your designated meeting place outside the home. Any questions?
Okay, board members, any questions for fire? Al?
Hi, good evening, Cap. I just want to congratulate you in regards about your guys' new fire station that will be put up.
Thank you.
And the mayor will be putting in at least 7.3 million.
I believe so. I'm not sure though.
Okay, my question is in regards to, those open land along the Fort Weaver Road, like by Renton Road, between Renton Road and Kalawaka, and then you get by Geiger Road and I guess, can I move that? Have you guys addressed the issue about those brushes? You know, those overgrown weeds or grass?
Right now, it's not a big concern for us. We don't really have too many brush fires going on in that location. But I'm sure if it does happen, I will address it more.
The reason why I brought it up, this is New Year is coming up, yeah?
So we need to make sure we come to work.
Okay, thank you. Tom?
I want to add to that, Ariel. Verona Village. The residents there are concerned with the overgrown grass as well. The city and county still owns a lot of the property around Verona and these vacant lots. Would you be so kind as to do an assessment or a drive-through and use your own expertise? It's the rainy season, but still the homeowners are very concerned because this tall grass is right up against their home property line, and they're concerned that it's not being cut. And when will it be cut?
Okay, that's in the
Verona, Renton Road, Verona Village.
Okay.
Across from the Hawaiian Railway Society.
Yeah, we'll check that out.
Please, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other board members? Community, got anything for the office or fire department, HFD?
I'm a little concerned about the St. Francis property along Renton Road by Lincoln Village, wherein there's a lot of houses there. Same scenario. There's a lot of dry brushes there. And I did call the property owner, but they said that just cutting about 4 feet away from the pavement on the road would deter fire from igniting. But I think that's also with the same alley with Verona Village, because there are a lot of properties there that could be subjected to that. So if you could also do an assessment in that area.
What is that area again? I'm sorry.
It's on Renton Road, right across from the Eva Elementary School.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, Kurt?
For Verona Village, the area you guys talking about, Tom and Rita, why don't you guys ask Kobayashi, the contractor in the area, since he has the machines, see if he can go over there and do a community, something for the community and bust back the brush area with the machines. I mean, I don't know if that's the area you're talking about. They have access to the construction site on their side of the road. So if you had the construction company, Kobayashi, I'm pretty sure they would be happy to assist you in that situation over there to help out with the community.
Excellent suggestion. I know there's a reason for me to show up.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm off too. Hello.
Speak a little bit louder.
I can use whatever. No, all of them are all.
Using the only word.
All of them are all.
This one is
Okay. I think you broke the mics. Okay. Oh, there we go. All right. We're back. Okay. Okay. Any other board members, comments, questions, concerns? Community, anything else? Okay, sir, thank you very much, and thanks for breaking the mic. Good job. And my congratulations also with the new fire department. I understand that's been a long time coming, and it's materializing quickly. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, HPD. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chairman, board members, community. I'm Edgar Namoka. I apologize, the patrol lieutenant isn't here today. I guess he's busy, he's unable to get away. Wasn't provided with the patrol stats for October. However, I do have the MOE and see the rest stats for October passed out, and there are extras up on the table for anybody who wants. I'll try and answer any HPD related questions at this time.
Okay, we'll see if we can entertain you with the board members and their lovely questions, and then we can jump right into weed and seed after that. Board members, any questions for HPD? Oh, Doing good. Okay, community. Anything for HPD today? Any major concerns out there? Okay, we're really beating the bushes here today. Oh, here we go. Good.
It's an issue I'll bring up a little bit later, and I know it's a little harder for you to address it, but the perpetual raceway that exists on Kapolei Parkway between Keoneula Boulevard and Kailea Street. Some community members were talking the other day about what could or could not be done about it, and someone suggested that because Haseko and the Kainoho Kai Homeowners Association have not passed that property over to the city and county, that the police were not able to police that area. So I had told them that I would try to find out for sure whether or not the speeding and the kind of the lack of maybe speed traps in that area were a function of what we know to be the lack of resources in the community, or if it was because it was still private turf. So I don't know.
I can't provide you with the exact stats, but I can tell you that Kapolei Parkway, the entire length of Kapolei Parkway is enforced for speeding and any other traffic violations. There have been numerous speeding citations issued. I'll bring that the next time around. I know the concern that was brought to you, and there's no truth to that, that it has not been turned over to the city and we are not enforcing. Traffic enforcement is ongoing on Kapolei Parkway.
Have you seen examples around the island that could be applied to that stretch of highway to slow down the perpetual speeding, to cut the person off to get to the one lane?
I don't know if the community wants to consider the measures that are around traffic calming, speed bumps. Those are probably the most common ones, but I can see where the concern is, though. It does seem like a raceway, but
we're about to add buses, and that means that I better speed up and get around that bus, and I better speed up and get around that bus, and it's going to become a nightmare. And I guess I'm personally vested because I'm about 43 yards from that stretch, and it's god awful. It's the most poorly managed new stretch of road in Nevada Beach, and maybe, as Kurt will probably point out, it's people are almost dying there.
Kurt?
Yeah, right now the city of Oseko is working on bringing those lanes to one lane in that area. We didn't get to follow up yet. The city came out and did a study on those roads, and they're working with Oseko. I guess right now Lisa's outside, so she won't be able to answer it now, but maybe later on in the evening we can probably ask her to see if she has any updated information. That was about a month ago when we met with the city out there at Kapolei Parkway. And I want to thank Tanapo, since I've seen it in here. You look in the back over here, we are looking for a crossing guard in that area, or close to that area. They have the number is 529-3106. And yeah, we are looking for somebody to help out with the children crossing the area right now. We just have periodically volunteers going out there. So it is a concern, not only for the police, but the community. But also I want to thank them because they was out there long time yesterday, tagging cars left and right. So that was kind of nice to see them out there on the motorcycles. Usually I just see them in the cars. But I was on the motorcycles yesterday, and that was really nice to see them out there. I want to thank you guys for that.
All right, thank you. Anybody else for HPD? Okay, community, anything? Oh, I did that. Okay. All right, I want to move right into weed and seed.
I passed out the report, so if there's any questions, I looked at it myself, and there doesn't even appear to be any major spikes in any of the arrest cases that should be of any concern. But if there's any concerns in the weed and seed side that anybody wants to bring to my attention on.
Ever Beach Road, there's any possibility either the weed and seed patrol or the regular patrol to more frequently in that area? I just was aware a few weeks ago on activity that's going on. I mean, they're stripping cars on that road. right in front of resident houses. I mean, I don't know if you got any calls on that. But we're looking into the matter and organizing a patrol watch in that area. So I just wanted to see if, you know, as we put together the patrol and the watch, you guys can beef up the patrol in that area for now. I mean, I know it's off the beaten path and the road is not the greatest, but if you guys could, that would be nice.
Some concerns about Evan Beach Road have been brought to our attention, and hopefully we'll be addressing those things in the very near future.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Kurt. Anybody else, board members, wait and see? Okay, community? Anybody have any comments, questions, concerns? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, appreciate it. Is Cal here tonight? Board of Water Supply? Oh, all right, here he is. Cal, you changed.
Hi, good evening. I am not Cal Suyoka. Cal has decided to step down from being a representative at the neighborhood board, so I'll be taking over for the next few months. My name is Keone Matos. I work in the communications office, so I'll be the representative for the next few months from the Board of Water Supply. So I apologize for not letting you know sooner. I wanted to meet you, meet the board and everyone before that, but we didn't have the opportunity. So, but I'm going to go into our report for this month for the Board of Water Supply. We're happy to report that there were no main breaks in the month of October. So we're just going to share some general information about what we'll be doing in the next month during this holiday season. We wanted to invite the board and fellow community members to the different kinds of events that we'll be having. Firstly, at our Halawa Xeriscape Garden, there will be 3 Xeriscape workshops. One is this Saturday. It's a Talancia holiday craft. And in the next 2 Saturdays, which is the 22nd and the 29th, there will also be Xeriscape holiday wreath making classes. They will be from 10 to 12 p.m. 10 to 12 p.m. If you want to register, you can get more information at theboardofwatersupply.com, or you can email tours@hbws.org. So we hope some people can come out to these fun and family-friendly events that we'll be holding. And also, in celebration of the holiday season, the BWS and other city departments are participating in decorating Honolulu and Kapolei holiday like we do every year. We'll be each department will have their Christmas trees, but on top of that, we're doing something new with the gingerbread houses. So, you know, grab your family and come on down in the beginning part of December so you can check that out. And we'll also be participating in the city's Christmas parades, December 6th, the Honolulu City Lights, and December 13th, the Kapolei City Lights. And also don't forget to check out the annual Christmas lights that we have out on Baratania Street. So those are some of the great things that we'll be doing this holiday season. And on behalf of the Board of Water Supply and all of our employees, we just want to wish everyone a safe, happy, and joyous Christmas and holiday season. So if you have any questions, I'm prepared to...
All right, thank you, Keone. Board members, any questions for Keone, right? Did I get it right? Okay, thank you. Perry.
Okay, just for the records, Keone, just like what I talked to you about outside, if you could provide us some kind of history or statistics, when was the last time, or when was the last visit, all that water main that we had in 9676?
This was for the water main replacement programs. I mean, you're asking when different mains were kind of a report of when the mains in the Ever Beach area were upkept or replaced in the last few years.
Yeah, well, when you guys want to upgrade it or replace it, or you know, how long was that?
Of course, I don't have the exact numbers now, but we can definitely look into the past to see when the different mains that we have in this area, when they've been improved, and if we have any improvements that are coming in the future, the community is always notified, and that's why we have our reps here, and we send out mailings to everyone, so the community will always be notified of when we're doing any construction projects or anything regarding the improvement of water mains. But I can look up to see if there's when we've last had our water main replacement projects here in the Ever Beach area.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other board members? Questions for water? Community? Comments, concerns for the water department? Okay, thank you. Oh, wait, sorry.
Since we didn't get a chance to say this to Cal, perhaps you'll pass this on to him, and I'm sure that one day a board member will say this to you after you've come before them for many, many years. Tell him thanks a lot, and we're sure he's not going to come visit us because he's got more exciting things to do, though it's very hard to imagine. But maybe you'll pass on.
I definitely will.
High regards and respects to Cal.
Hip hip hooray, Cal.
I hope I can do half as well as Cal has over the last 7 years that he's been here. So I look forward to this. I'm very excited to be here, and I look forward to some great times here.
All right, thank you very much. In fact, I guess all of our board members seem to have the same mindset. I was just about to say that before I got cut off. No, really, Cal has been a great service to this community. He's been here religiously for the last 8 years, right? Thereabout. Okay, and I know he's been here every monthly meeting that I've been around. He's been excellent with the reports and follow-ups, and well, you got some big shoes to fill. All right, thank you. Military. Navy commander is not available. Okay. Just for the record, for the board's sense, I'd like to ask our commission assistant to see if we can do a phone call out to the military and see what's the stats. I believe they've been not available for the last couple months or so. Okay, so just see where we are. I'm sure we're still here. They're there, but they're not here. Okay, a couple announcements. If you remember back, and this is an announcement I'm going to give real fast. I believe it was our July meeting. We had a unanimous board that requested that we send a letter to the governor in respect to the bus stops on Fort Weaver Road. Say again? All of them. One of them's Colowaka, Geiger, both sides of Geiger. That's the 3 bus stops that were in question at that time. There was a large concern from our community, and I'm just trying to bring everybody up to speed right now. There was a large concern from our community. They even drafted a petition to address this particular issue, and they brought it to this board and asked us to write a letter to the governor to see if we can influence DOT, Department of Transportation, on their decisions to relocate the bus stops. So what I'm going to do is take a minute, read the letter that I received from the governor. She received our letter that was dated on August 2nd, and it reads as such. Dear Mr. Hargrave, thank you for your letter dated August 2, 2008, which expressed the Evan Neighborhood Board's concerns over the relocation of 3 bus stops along Fort Weaver Road, from near side before the intersection to the far side after the intersection. Please know that the primary reasons for the bus stops relocations is safety improvement for all users of the roadway. We understand the impacts and relocations will have on Eva residents, including requiring some residents to walk an additional distance. We'll follow up on that within the next week or so. I understand also in our September meeting we had Civil Defense that was here, or was supposed to be here. They were scheduled to be, but they did not show. They were to come out and give a report on the new siren system for Eva Beach area. I thought that was kind of important. In fact, they've emailed me a couple different times back in August to request to be there, and I was kind of surprised when I read it that they did not appear for their presentation. I think that's a concern that we should all have as a community, and we're going to try to make attempt to make contact with them to see if we can get them out in the very near future to give us an update on their emergency siren system for Eva Beach. Okay, new business. We have Verizon Wireless and presentation on the mono palm tree antenna tower, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and if you can please identify yourself for our neighborhood commission, we're good to go.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, board members, community. My name is Thomas Johnson. I'm with Cascade EPM. We are agents for Verizon Wireless. Verizon is proposing to construct a wireless facility at the corners of Renton and Fort Weaver Road on a vacant lot that is owned by the city and county of Honolulu. The facility is going to consist of a 60-foot monopalm located within a 20 by 25-foot fenced compound, 5 equipment cabinets, and a emergency backup generator relocated within the compound. The fence will be woven with green slats to help conceal the equipment within the compound. Aesthetics were a concern to Verizon due to the proximity of the facility to Fort Weaver Road, so they have chosen to go with a stealth design. In this case, it is a monopalm and obviously designed to resemble a palm tree. The site is also located in this location behind an existing 6-foot rock wall, so the compound will have zero visibility from Fort Weaver Road. The City and County Department of IT has agreed to move forward with an agreement once a presentation was made to the neighborhood board and the community had an opportunity to provide feedback. All revenue generated from the facility will go to the City and County. And also this presentation is a requirement for the zoning application, in this case a conditional use permit and a height waiver. The nearest existing Verizon sites are at New Eva Golf Course and the Coral Creek Golf Course. The requirement for this additional site is due to the growing wireless demand. Part of the demand is due to an increase in usage of 3G data services, and anyone who's familiar with or knows someone with an iPhone is probably well aware of these 3G data services and the services that the new 3G networks provide. Examples are mobile internet, email, photo and video sharing, and audio and video streaming. The other part of this demand is due to an increase in wireless subscribers and the number of subscribers who no longer use landlines. More and more people are replacing their landlines with their wireless devices, and this has created a need for increased capacity. Also, an added benefit of this facility is the increased reliability in the E911 service. Less network congestion leads to more reliable E911 service. Verizon also sent proposals to 8 other property owners in the vicinity, 3 of which were the Zippies, the 7-Eleven, and the Hawaiian Telecom Central Office. All proposals were declined. And also Verizon looked into co-location at other wireless facilities in the area, and due to the sites being at capacity, co-location wasn't possible. One of the sites that Verizon had considered was also a stealth monopine farther down Fort Weaver Road, between Fort Weaver Road and the Coral Creek Golf Course. I have handouts here that include site information that I just went over, a site plan, before and after photo simulations, and general wireless information. Thank you.
Okay, board members, questions? Tom?
Revenue. City and county revenue is? Anything, for instance, James Campbell High School. James Campbell High School's got one, right? They're getting some kind of residual off this, right? I think Honolulu may be another one. I don't see Eva Elementary School even getting the proposal. So that, again, what would be the benefit if it were, for instance, at Eva Elementary School's jurisdiction? What would be the income derived for them?
Well, any income derived from a site will go specifically to the landlord, and that's negotiated, on a site-by-site basis. Why it didn't go to the school, in this case, I'm not quite familiar where the location of that school is, but in this case, it had to go in an area that had been dictated as far as to evenly address the coverage concerns and to hit those coverage objectives. I hope I answered your question.
The location of the school is within a 1/16th of a mile of your other locations here.
Okay.
It would just be of interest, I think, to the community that since James Campbell High School looked favorably upon getting revenue, you know, when you're trying to buy books and pay the bills, every little penny counts.
Yes, sir.
So if we could get something like this where rather than money's going to the city, County of Honolulu, which is okay too, boy, of an elementary school could probably want to just put their finger on this and say, what's available to us? So those discussions, Principal Tamiya, no, she's gone. Help. Stanley Tamashiro. Right now, thank you. Principal Stanley Tamashiro, please, at the Eva Elementary School. Would you be able to, do you need a decision tonight, Chair, from this board to give concurrence on this?
No, sir, I don't. But I'm not certain why the board or that school wasn't proposed or had the proposal sent to them. But I can definitely follow up on that.
Thank you.
You said that this revenue is going to city and county, is this correct?
This will be a lease between, and it's leases with the city and county in this case, or all land leases that are on city and county owned property or with the Department of IT.
Okay, good. Outstanding, because this ties in so nicely with the presentation coming up after you from Councilmember Poe, where he lets the community know that one of the wonderful free services from the city and county is free wireless in many parks. There's a real magic behind free. The free comes from being my charitable nonprofit, because DIT doesn't have any money. Mr. Bruce has explained to me that there's no revenue in the city and county budget to pay for Wi-Fi in the parks, and so this comes out of my own pocket or funds I can raise through my nonprofit. So I would have to wonder if perhaps this new money in the DIT's budget, some of which, I mean, maybe perhaps most of it could stay in the Eva community. I would never want to compete with the school, but this is great news to me. I just wrote a check to Wyantel for Pili La'au Park. That's line item, and that came out of my pocket. So let me make this really clear, because we all just watch a lot of money get spent because the city and transit, the city and county has no money for Wi-Fi. So I certainly from this board would propose that we support it, but only if there is a specific revenue sharing agreement with the city and county that keeps a specific percentage of these dollars in Eva Beach. I'd be happy to meet with you and Gordon Bruce, any of the DIT deployment staff with whom I work with the city and county parks, and I can help to make sure that whether we make this based on bandwidth utilization or whatever metric we find is acceptable not only to Verizon but also to the taxpayers. That's the only way I, as a board member, would support this. Because this is new revenue to city and county for an asset that Verizon would like to make money on in our community. So let's come up with a really great proposal to keep those dollars local. Otherwise, I personally wouldn't support this at all.
Kurt? Yeah, I think all the money should come to the Eva Beach community. And is it the elderly home, the one, the CC? Oh, D. Thompson. Isn't it governed or partially sponsored by the city? I think the revenue that we make from this area here should go to improvements and restoration for that area. Because they're talking about to privatize it because they don't have any funding to upkeep the property. So I think you should go recommend to them, city, whoever you're dealing with for the city, that all the money that they're making from you guys, I don't care if it's peanuts, $12 million, that all the money should go and stay in this area and should go to the adjacent place, either a state park or to the villages over there in where CC lives. I highly recommend that. If you want my vote, I think that's what you guys should consider. Other than that, I'm not going to vote for this project.
Board members, anybody else? Gary?
Yeah, I think that it should be a win-win project. Or win-win situation where the money stays here, some of it go to the school, some of it go to the elderly, the handicap place or elderly place, and some of it go to the park, and some of it go to support the non-profit that Scott runs. If it stays here, I'll vote for that.
Any other board members? No? Community? Let me open it up. Community comments, concerns on the location of Verizon's proposal? Okay.
Chair, Joyce Olomero with or whoever's with Councilman Poe or the mayor's rep, either one should, in my opinion, be in their presentation or report tonight, get back to this board and let us know if that money's revenue does go to a general fund. From my understanding, the monies would go to a general fund with the city and county. So Scott's proposal and other comments made that the money stay into Eva's community would have to be a directive from our council member and from the mayor, so that the monies in exchange are not into the general fund, but dedicated. And so we would have to, as a board, give that direction.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Eric?
I propose then that the chair write a letter, what he just said, what Tom just said, so that it becomes two councilmen opposed, that the money stays, and then he creates something so that the money stays here. He creates a resolution so the money stays.
Okay, that's agreeable, and I will request both of you guys give me some assistance on the language. And what I'd like to request for Les, if you will, Les, and
I'm sorry, I'm here for Les. My name is Thomas Johnson.
My apology. I'm sorry, I was looking at something else here. I had too much papers in front. Okay, Mr. Johnson. Okay, if there is any way that you might be able to help us out with direction opposed to who you're working with as far as where the funds might supposedly be going, and that we could maybe encourage that funding or whatever the resource is that comes out of that, like board member Villa indicated, whether it's peanuts or a couple $1,000 or whatever, if it could be redirected to the community, of course that's to our benefit, and in fact the whole community's benefit. Okay, so if you're inclined to help us out with that, that would also work. I have one other question, or actually a couple quick ones if you don't mind, then I'll turn it over to you, Kurt. The towers, now you've identified that there's already one existing at the Eva Golf Course, North Road. Is that correct?
The existing sites for Verizon that they are actually already at.
I'm looking at the paper here. It says new Eva Golf Course on North Road, and also a Coral Creek Golf Course. Yes, sir. So that's two locations, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. My question is, with the idea of putting one at Renton Road, what is the range on these towers?
It varies, I believe. I think it's safe to say that you get a radius of about 1.5 miles, 2 miles from each side.
Oh, that's really kind of small, yeah.
Yeah.
And
they overlap. They're considered cells. They overlap.
Okay.
And that's all helps with network connectivity.
Okay. The reason I asked that because I was under the understanding that it was on an average of 10 to 15 mile radius in most cases, but that obviously is not the case. Okay. What was the reasons for the declines that you had on the other? I'm looking at 7 different areas that you went to and got declined?
I don't have reasons for the decline. I can say from experience with 7-Eleven Hawaii that they've recently changed their policy to not accept proposals from the wireless carriers. Unfortunately, I don't have the reason for the declines for any of the others.
Okay. Okay, Kurt, thank you.
I want to make a motion to vote for that we approve the antenna in accordance to that all the revenue from this antenna stays in the community of Eva Beach, or that goes to the general fund, so it stays in Eva Beach, all the money that's generated from this antenna.
I second the motion.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor and has been seconded. Is there any need for additional discussion? No? Okay, shall we call for the vote? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, it carries. Again, with your assistance as far as identifying who we need to direct a letter to, as well as our own people on the board here, we will draft up something and get it out and see if we can support your program. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. One other question. Harry?
Okay, I just want to verify the utility pole. Okay, is this the same one in between Geiger and Renton Road, that cell site that they have? Have you noticed that coconut tree right at?
I'm not familiar with the one that you're talking about. Are you referring to an existing one?
Yep.
That was located where?
It's in between Geiger Road and Kalawaka.
Yeah, that's actually 403.
Is that karaoke?
And that's, okay, that's the Sprint site? Yes, that's the one I was referring to.
So, is it going to look like something similar to that? Because
yes,
the way your picture looked like, you get red pole. And I don't want to see one red pole over
No,
there.
it'll look similar to the one there that's adjacent to the Coral Creek Golf Course, and also similar to the one that's over by the White Kelly Shopping Centers. You can see it, which can be seen from the freeway.
All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right, moving right along. We have East Kapolei, Brownfields, Bruce. Bruce, are you here? Oh, okay, there you go. Thank you. State Department of Hawaii and Homelands.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, neighborhood board members, community. My name is Darrell Ng. I'm with the Department of Hawaii and Homelands, and along with me is my supervisor, Larry Sumito. We're here to talk about and advise you that the Department of Hawaii and Homelands is planning to undertake a proposal to clean up a brownfield site in the Everplains. I have a map and a picture of the brownfield site. This is the former sugar plantation pesticide mixing plant, left over from the old Oahu Sugar era. It was closed down in the mid-90s when Oahu Sugar went out of business. And since then it's been vacant. It's chained off, chain link fence to prevent people from going in. But there are residual chemicals in the soil and in the structure itself. And we are proposing to tear down the structure and some way remediate the site so that we can follow up with development, residential development for Hawaiian homes, homesteaders. I'll give you an idea of the location.
This is the North-South Road intersection with Kapolei Parkway. Comes up alongside the property and goes all the way up to Farmington. The University of Hawaii site is here, and Whole Pili is on the other two sides. And the golf course is below us. Site is right here on our master plan map, is shown as a 5-acre park. The contaminated area itself is approximately 1.5 acres.
In conjunction with this, we are applying for a grant from EPA. They have their grants available up to $200,000 for remediation, and along with that, also apply for our EPA cleanup loan from the revolving loan fund, which would be approximately $1.9 million. Total cleanup, including engineering and follow-up, is probably in the neighborhood of about $2.5 million. It ranges from
just below the surface to, I believe, 3 or 4 feet. So there is quite a bit of dirt to be removed. One option is to remove it and incinerate it. Unfortunately, there are no incineration facilities here in the islands, and so it would have to be literally shipped overseas. That option would take the price tag up to about $20 million or more. So the proposal right now is to tear the building down and cap all the contaminated soils under a soil cap as well as a geotech liner and cement or asphalt.
Okay, is that your complete presentation?
Yes, I do have a copy of the our draft grant application, which has a lot of information, deeper information on the project for you to look over. We also did, in conjunction with the grant, publish a public notice requesting comments. We didn't get any. Unfortunately, we weren't able to come to you sooner because our grant application has to go in tomorrow. But we will still take comments and consider them in our, as we go along in the planning process and engineering.
Okay. Is there a website that you have available?
I beg your pardon?
Do you have a website?
We have a Hawaiian Homes website.
Which covers this project?
Yeah. And that website is also in the public notice.
Okay, and you have handouts for us. Okay. Okay. Scott? Okay. Tom?
Interesting. I used to jog by this thing 20 pounds lighter ago, back in 2000. And I was there when the fence was put up. And I was there when they mitigated a topsoil at the time. And working with Representative Cabinilla in my former employment, we had worked diligently to bring this into preservation status with the State Historical Preservation Division for one of the following reasons. Currently, we have a third-grade wetland program at Honeiuliuli Preservation at a federal wildlife preserve not far from there. And we have a historic Eva Villages, which is on a state, and we have a federal grant of $40,000 from President Bush that says Eva Historic Properties is something of value to the nation. And here we have one of the very last chemical mixing plants, albeit a rust bucket. It is fenced off, and it is of something that the children can look back and say, an acre and a half. Okay? Acre and a half. D.R. Horton surrounds that thing with 1,600 acres. Acre and a half compared to 1,600 acres. It seems to me that the educational value of the days of pesticides and insecticides, now we're looking at genetically modified crops, whereby we're not doing that anymore. These are the days gone by. This is something where our ag of future farmers of America at James Campbell High School can get hands-on analysis of what those days were like. We have an ability of an actual laboratory right there, in my opinion, board members. This site has value, history, and a connectivity. And I think prior to it being bulldozed over is that it needs to be discussed by this community at large. That Rep. Cabinilla's interest, my own interest. I'm a member for this board as the EVA director for the Oahu Resource Conservation Development Council, ORC&D. And I had brought this to their attention years ago. And they said, it's the only one around. And it may have value, Tom. Let's look at it. Well, the State Historical Preservation Division doesn't have money to do anything. They're out of realm here. So it's really up to us as community members. Would we want to have and see this thing forever gone? You know, I personally have about 50 photographs of this. But they don't do me any good, and I don't think they're do any good of a 3rd or 5th or 9th grade or any type of a school education program. It's hands-on that makes the field trips of value. So here you have it, 1,600 acres of a development, and then you have a remnant. One small remnant. This thing could be...
And actually, the EPA, Tom, as you ran by the thing, you noted that they added another fence, they increased the area.
because of these dioxins. And I think the EPA is going to declare it an imminent danger. So we're trying to get this done as quickly as possible, at least to mitigate around the area. And when we are concerned about the chemicals that's in the wood and in the metal, it cannot just be, the proposed method of disposal is to take the metal and it has to be chemically treated and washed and disposed of. So, fortunately, it's dioxin. It has not gone, as far as we know, very deep into the ground, but it has a lot of dust and it can travel downstream.
Chair?
Okay, thank you. Tom?
One quick observation. Alun Farms and Fat Lao, within 20 yards of that fence, they're growing produce.
And we did do, or have engineers, hazardous material engineers, do a phase 2 report for us. And they actually did take soil samples from all around the building, up to, I think, about 50 feet from the center. And they identified some areas, like Larry said, outside of the existing fence, primarily the roadways, where the chemicals had actually leached through the soil and outside of the fence. And so that's the reason that it looks like EPA may be declaring an imminent danger, because the portion that is contaminated is not protected by the fence.
Okay, thank you. Reverend Kevin Notes.
I'm a state representative. I represent that area. I have an office at the Capitol. Everybody knows where I'm at. I have not notified whatsoever about your plan on this project. I was not shared the EPA report. So I would like you to, before you go any further, if you could please give me the courtesy to make an appointment with me and discuss your plans. Also, there's an EVA Historical Society. It's a duly registered organization in EVA, whose mission is to protect, preserve all the entities of the historical EVA villages, which is a registered historical community. There's also a plan of the EVA Historical Society to connect all these areas into a historical tour. There is a plan which involves this area. This area has been sitting there for at least 50 years. And now the development comes to play here. You want to bulldoze that area. If there is any grant to be used to decontaminate that area, I would like it to go to the community so the community can preserve that area. I am deeply in opposition to your plan of bulldozing this area for historical reasons and also for historical tours. One of the things that the state needs is historical tours. And we here in EVA have all the elements to do a historical tour. We have the Railway Society, we have the Aviation History Museum, we have that area for the Japanese internment camp, we have those caves out in Waipahu. We are rich in history, and that is part of our history. So I would like full discussion on this matter. I think that all the entities, all the members in this community should be a part of this discussion, and it's really a big surprise to me that it appears like you're about to slide this project, and I'm really disheartened by this.
Know that it was not our intention to overlook anything, but our main concern right now is the safety, and that's honestly that has been our focus, is to make the area safe.
Well, it's like I said, it's been there for over 50 years. Why now, all of a sudden, you want to keep it safe? I mean, I am sure. I know the plan, but they're making it like they're doing it to protect us. But I think that the area can be enlarged. If the current fence is not enough, that fence area can be enlarged until the community or any historical entities such as the EVA Historical Society have enough funding to mitigate those concerns. But I think it should be If it's not 1.5 acre right now, and there's concern of safety within the 1.5 acre, we can enlarge it to 5 acres, just so we're not concerned about them.
Okay, thank you. Glenn?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As a person that was born and raised on a sugar plantation, I can tell you how critical preservation is, because right now we don't have anything to look at as far as preservation is concerned. My brother used to, one of my younger brothers, he used to be, they call it the sabidon guy, the runa. He used to create the new fields for sugar. And he also used to spray the chemicals. For 15 years he done that until the sugar went out. But what I'm saying, and again, board members, this is one of the things that has to be brought up in a ever development plans, preservation. How we feel about preserving certain things. Not only that, Mr. Chair, I think we should have an oversight committee that looks into these very areas of things that need to be preserved. Because right now there's a rampant push to get things developed without oversight. And I think we gotta do that as community people. And let me tell you again, and we'll pick that up in ever development as we discuss it. But right now, I'm not in favor of getting rid of relics or things of importance to the community. Okay? That's my number one point. I know you guys are trying to facilitate development, and I kind of frown on that. Okay. Because as a native Hawaiian, Mr. Chair, Hawaiian homelands should not be in a position of facilitating development.
Okay.
And they are doing it. That's the roadblocks to our oversight into developing in this area. HCDA and Hawaiian homelands. I'm a native Hawaiian. Okay. And I'm going to tell you guys shouldn't be in that position to facilitate the development in the ever region. Bob.
Thank you. Yes. Okay, one last comment, and we'll move on if you will.
If we could put this in perspective, the Eva Mill site also turned over back in the late 70s as part of this historic plan. The Eva Mill site had contamination of contaminated soil. The city and county of Honolulu went in and decided to pave over that soil. We had in the Eva Vehicle Park a plan, and a plan was to put a swimming pool in that park. That plan for the Eva Mill site was also to be a place where we could have a cottage industry, we could have a food marketplace there. And what happened was because the soil was contaminated, the city and county said off limits, it's not going to be a public domain, and it's storage or some other use. And so with the Eva Mill site, it seems that on a park where we were going to have a swimming pool, and I'm not after you guys, don't take me wrong, but it just seems that the antecedents, again, going back to when we have an Eva Vehicle Park with the same scenario, attention, thoroughness, went to the wayside. All of a sudden, 2.9 million, I heard you say? 2.9 million being kicked in to 1.5 acres. When we have a public Eva Mill site from the 1970s from the Oahu Sugar Plantation Company says this is going to be in the public's domain, and it didn't get in the public's domain. Now we're going to take a 1.5 acre out there in the middle of the cornfield, so to speak, and we're going to make it into development so someone else can cash in. So there needs to be an addressment here of what's being dysfunctional on this whole historic thing. So I'd like to say, Chair, can we take Mr. Glenn O'Milda's comment, can we consider as a board that we bring one more committee level to our board, and that be on preservation status or preservation heritage, and so we have a committee member take up that assignment? I really think that it's appropriate at this time that we adhere to Mr. O'Milda's suggestion.
All right, thank you. I think that's an excellent suggestion, and we should be able to incorporate that with the development plan as part of your project that we're putting in place, and it needs to be part of that. Okay, any other comments?
I think the committee board. Your guys make it
a separate committee. My apology. We'll look into that. Yes, absolutely. Any other comments from the board?
According to the letter, or in effect the packet that you have in front of you, you'll note that on the first line, or I'm sorry, actually the third line, November 14th, they are actually putting in an application for EPA for the grant. So in reference to that, as stated, it would be probably midterm next year, 2009, before they actually had anything of any kind of approval if it was granted. Is that correct? Okay. Gary?
I would like to make the motion that we acknowledge that they came here and made the presentation to us, and that well, I'm voting no for it, even if they made the presentation to us. So my motion is that we turn it down.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
Clarification. Could you amend such motion, Gary, that whereby we go forward with the soil mitigation but preserve the structure?
Oh, yeah, okay. That's good. Save the building, go for the soil.
Okay, restate your motion, please.
So the motion would be, to my understanding, it would be that this neighborhood board is not in concurrence and does not support the demolition of this site, but rather the board would support that the soil mitigation proceed and the structure be retained to the best of your abilities.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Can we get a second? Oh, you did? Oh.
You're just doing clarification.
Oh, I apologize. Yes, very true. That was Gary's motion. Sorry. Re-clarified. Got it. Okay.
He speaks better English than me.
Okay. We're going to call for the vote? Or do we need further discussion?
This is doable, or are we asking for the impossible?
Then are you asking the presenter? Okay.
Well, to be honest with you, we hadn't considered that option, but I can ask my engineers to see what they think about it, see if it's possible.
Thank you. All right, that's a real good consideration. Any other? Okay. Okay, if no other questions from the board, call for a question. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Sustained. Oh, thank you. Okay, carries.
Mr. Mayor, let me make one personal comment. I can understand where you're all coming from. My grandfather was on the plantation himself. And so I used to visit him 50 years ago when he flew around. And I see the changes around here. I know you talked about the mill. I try to retrace to find his old home and gone. So I know where you guys are coming from. I understand.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, and thanks for your presentation. Very good. Okay, moving right along. Okay, we're going to go to reports for our elected officials. However, I'm going to make a slight change in the agenda. Is Board of Education here? Oh, okay. We got his hand up. Okay. Anything specific we need to? All right, board members, you got the handout for Board of Education. Any comments from that?
I have one comment.
Go ahead, Scott.
And I hope to take this up with our BOE representative next month. I know that the public libraries have been looking at doing free Wi-Fi at every public library, and that each public library currently has a taxpayer-paid Roadrunner connection that's not used. And I just want to make sure we call to Green's attention next month that it's my understanding from trying to get the public libraries to use wireless access points for less than $100. I was told that they were only buying access points from a particular vendor at $2,500. So when Green's here next month, to the degree that the public libraries are still moving forward on Wi-Fi, I'm going to want him to get them to account for why we're cutting some budget, but spending 25 times the market rate for technology.
Okay, thank you, Scott. Any other comments for Board of Education? Okay, let's move right into the elected officials' mayor's office. Mark? Thank you.
Hello, board and community members. My name is Mark Stelzone, representing the mayor's office for Joyce Oliveira. I will be going over the complaints and issues raised from the September and October meetings. First item, stop sign replacement located both ends of the intersection of Mancuque and Ha'akea streets, and the speed limit sign rusted and faded on Ha'akea Street. The Department of Facility Maintenance will be replacing both of these concerns, the stop signs and the rusted speed limit sign. Crosswalk removal and relocation, safety issue at Renton Road, Eva Beach Community Park, and Campbell High School between the Eva Beach Public Library. Department of Facility Maintenance informed that the Department of Transportation Services will conduct an investigation which will require site inspections, research, and other assessments of the situation. The Department of Transportation Services will inform the board of their findings by the end of December. For the cracked sidewalk at Asim Park and Recreation, inspection scheduled to be completed October 14th. Temporary patches will be provided if needed while permanent work is being rescheduled. Alright, a request for street lighting improvements that replace the bottom glass shield to lamps in Verona Village, Renton Road. The Department of Facility Maintenance has stated that the street lighting improvements for this area should be planned and designed when the infrastructure for Verona Village is upgraded. The existing street lights are of open lamp design that was installed in most plantations in Hawaii. The open lamp design is not a safety hazard since the lamp is designed for rugged use and is out of the reach of the general public. Next item, Fernandez Village AM traffic backup. Problems for residents trying to exit their area to reach Fort Weaver Road. This is a state DOT highway division, and their contact number is 587-2150. Guys, am I doing all right with you guys? You all right, Tom? Okay, going through the motions here. Okay, next item, Renton Road. Concern was delineators are broken and removed. The Department of Transportation Services is still conducting their investigation, which may require field and site inspections and traffic assessment and analysis of the area. The Department of Transportation Services will inform the board of their findings no later than December 2008. Next item.
What is that on the reflector? Right in front of the book. You gotta do the traffic analysis when it's broken.
It appears so.
We swap them.
To swap them out? Well, I'll notate that. Possible just to swap?
Just replace it. Just replace it, yeah.
Okay. Time out.
A lot of cars are going
oh, okay.
It's all broken, so they all open.
So they just drive through?
Yeah.
You know what? Put a
We'll
metal in
still
there. Put a metal in there.
Some spikes or something?
Yeah.
Put the same one they get at Walmart by Crane.
Yeah.
Denny's.
Take it over.
All right, rolling.
All right, back on?
Back on.
Okay, so I'll move on. Next item, flooding fronting Verona Village during small rains. What kind of plans are there to resolve this problem? I guess we need additional information. We need addresses and street name where the water is not draining.
There's no drain in Verona Village, period.
There's no drain in Verona Village, period. Okay.
That's why it's flooding.
I get potholes.
Okay, potholes to collect the water, all right.
Yeah, a lot of that, just for your information, I'm sure everybody else has information, they already know mostly.
The road itself is obviously substandard. It obviously needs a lot of improvement. There are a lot of potholes, and we do have a lot of 10-wheelers utilizing that. It's tearing it up more and more. So when we do get rain out there, it's causing a big flooded area.
Since the construction in the area and the truck driving that's going in the area, did they ever assess, did Kobayashi put into plans to do improvements on the road after they finished busting them all up in that area? Did that include, because they're doing the construction work in the area, so they got to haul out material. But was it ever considered to minimize the use in front of Verona Village area and to use Kapolei Parkway as a main route, because that is a regular, a road that they could use instead of using rented road and in fronting Verona Village for convenience? Is there any way we can have the city talk to the construction company in that main area, since we're having a lot of, that road is bust, to the max. You gotta have some compassion for those guys over there. It's just terrible. I think that mother been there since the plantation area, those asphalt pieces. So if there's any way you guys can talk to them to work with the community, especially Verona Village, that's a historical area. See if they can be minimized. I'm pretty sure they'll be easy to work with. Maybe they're not aware of it. And the construction companies know about it.
Okay, Gary. It's not only Kobayashi, but further down they had Avalon, who made that, I made a complaint last time that all these 10 and 12 wheelers and 20 wheelers are going and creating in the back where they're making the elderly homes behind the church. All the guys are going to Renton and going to the shortcut to Roosevelt to bring it to Kapolei, where they're dumping it over there. And the statement was given to me, contact the guys at Pine Ridge and Amazon. I said, why? That's, you guys are supposed to say. I said, aren't they going to pay for that because they're busting it up now? It's not only Kobayashi. There's several projects that are going on over there, and they have been moving dirt, everything, for a long time, for several months. In fact, from the beginning of the year, when they came here, and I brought that up at that time.
Okay, good, thank you.
Great, yeah, we'll address these issues and have the appropriate department.
Okay, let me help you out a little bit here. Okay, board members, all your concerns, I need you to write them down, and we'll give them to Mark so he can, I'm sorry, give it to Nola, and she'll make sure the mayor's rep gets it. Hold on one second. Okay, Ariel, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, if you can relay this, Mark, to Joyce. Okay, the street light fixture, whoever deciding that, I know it's an old fixture, okay, at Verona Village. However, if I get a BB gun, that bulb is no longer will be there. And where it's gonna fall? On the road. So that's why I'm saying it's a safety issue, and it can be a traffic hazard also. So all I'm asking is replace that fixture at all, or put some kind of cover, so that way the kids don't even try to attempt to shoot it with a BB gun. Okay? And I get some 3 more items over here that I just want to bring it out because...
Did you get it write it down too?
I will email it.
That way you can follow up a little easier.
Yeah. Okay, as you can see, Verizon does point it out on their thing. This pole over here, that laying down by West Lock Elderly Village, that grassy area on their Renton Road, I reported this back in May 2008, and it's still there. Why isn't nobody take this pole? It's a safety issue. Are you guys gonna get sued again for $1 million? because somebody tipped over on a pole, just like what happened in Waikiki. Okay? And we've been asking for a crosswalk on the Papipi Road and Kapolei Parkway since May 13 of 2008.
Oh, yeah, I think I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Actually, Mark hasn't really completed his report yet. We're kind of jumping ahead, and I do apologize to Mark for jumping in there. So why don't we let you finish your report first, and then we'll hopefully finish off the recap.
Sure. Okay, the next issue I have here is, given that there are at least 24 closures within a stone's throw from my house, I'm not sure, Scott's house, in Eva, and given the tightened lending standards for home buyers, what real effect can a competitive construction market have, short of providing financial, reversing inflation and stopping the growth of the middle class in India and China? Maybe that was a typo, I'm not sure. In other words, can house...
Excuse me, no, come on. Don't make a mockery of my question. It wasn't a typo. Maybe you didn't understand. It's okay. You'll get there.
Okay, in other words, can housing prices reach sub 300,000 again? And then the response I have here. $590,000 in September, its lowest point in 3.5 years. The median condo price fell to $296,000, its lowest point in more than 2.5 years. Historically, time has shown again and again, economic downtimes are exactly the time when public work projects like rail are vitally important. Please read the September issue of Hawaii Business, article about how public projects shape our economic future titled Money Train. Remember the decade-long economic slump we went through in the 1990s? And some excerpts from this article are, in 1992, Honolulu City Council voted against raising the general excise tax to fund a mass transit system, effectively killing the project. Had the rail program been instituted then, it would have kicked in when the other construction was bottoming out. Essentially saying that rail will help out. Sure. I hope that helps. Okay.
Did that hurt you to get through that? You okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. So then the follow-up question will be the funding mechanism and the sustaining funding mechanism for transit continues to be based on new home construction.
Okay.
Okay, so the question for you will be, all right.
You write it down for me? Great.
But if you come back and read it next month, do me a favor and read the question as written, since I take a lot of time to make sure that I represent the interests of the community. I appreciate that.
I read what's given to me.
Okay, I'm sure you will try to do your best. Okay. Did you have any more, Mark? I'm sorry.
There's just one final one for the October meeting that you folks had.
Yes. That was their candidates forum.
And this is an update from the July 10th, 2008 meeting.
Okay.
An ongoing request from the previous request. Crosswalks at Renton Road and Teeny Street. Safety concern for children. DTS will conduct investigation and inform of the status of the study by October 2008 when schools are back in session. The Department of Transportation Services has completed their study and found that a marked crosswalk is not justified on Renton Road at Teeny Street. The study found that there is minimal pedestrian crossing at this intersection. Therefore, the minimal pedestrian volume threshold to consider the installation of a marked crosswalk was not met. In addition, a review of the area's traffic history found no reported pedestrian-related incident at the subject intersection in the past 3 years. In view of the above, the Department of Transportation Services does not recommend the installation of a marked crosswalk at this time. They will, however, continue to monitor the area and ensure the appropriate traffic controls are installed once they become warranted. And that completes the report that I have.
Okay. Board members. Eric?
Okay, let me just continue this back again.
Okay.
Can you add it on this, Mark, to Joyce to request a bus shelter to be installed by Fort River Road and Hanakahi on the northbound lane?
Fort River and
Hanakahi. There's a bus stop over there, and there's no shelter. They got the bench, but you got like about 20 people standing in the sun or in the rain. And then also we have a street light burnout along the North Road by OLPH. If you can let the street light people replace those lights, and street sign let me spell the street name. OAMA. That's Oscar Alpha Mike Alpha the street.
Great.
Okay. It's missing a street sign. That's it.
Okay, just for information, hold on one sec, Gary. Just for information in reference to any street lights, this is for the community as well as the board members. If you notice any street lights that are burnt out, you can call direct and they'll come out the very next day and replace it. Okay, Gary?
Mark, he mentioned People Road. Me, you mentioned Renton Road on the crosswalk. So that didn't answer this question.
It's a different issue.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay, Monique?
I have this written out, but if you can make a record or ask, as I drive down Fort Weaver, I see bikes attached to anything the bicyclists, that they can uphold, anything. So my request for the mayor's office is to put bike racks, at least one, because they're attaching their bikes to anything they can. And Eva Beach residents have a hard time commuting, so I think they're taking other means to riding their bicycles. They're trying.
All right, good point. Anything from the community? I'm sorry, I missed anybody else. Okay, community, anything? All right, Mark, thanks. Very good job.
Thank you.
All right. Councilman Pole's office is okay, Rep. Thank you.
Hi, Tracy Omori, representing Councilman Ralpho's office. I circulated his report, October, November. If you have any questions? I know in there when it went to press, the EDP deadline was still November 17th, so that has to be corrected on the newsletter to January 30th. And also there's the contact information for EDP, for the BP plan in there if you need it right now. And any questions I can take back to council member.
Okay, board members? Scott? Oh, I'm sorry, Gary.
Like she said, in here it says November 17th to make the comments.
Yeah.
To Stanford. And yet he said we got till January 30th to submit our. So what's the difference on that?
I just mentioned that it was extended to January 30th, so that needed to be corrected in our newsletter.
Oh.
Because when it went to print, that was the original date.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, board members, Scott, you got anything?
I do, thank you, Mr. Chair. In 2005, I began a really complicated process to get the city and county to let me give it free Wi-Fi. And it was not easy. And I've succeeded in letting the city and county let me set up free Wi-Fi in multiple parks. It was great that Councilmember Opposed called to everybody's attention that these services are available. But if you could please, maybe you'll ask him, because maybe he'll know. How are we paying for that? And is there a long-term plan to scale that project to other parks? Short of hoping that Scott does it all and finds the money without affecting the DIT budget. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other board members? For Councilman Paul? No? Community, anybody for community? Glenn?
I've got a question that really the councilman didn't really offer to the community. And in regards to rail, the people in Salt Lake, and again, the council person from Salt Lake, as well as the neighborhood, supported an alignment through Salt Lake. But here in Eva Beach, the councilman never offered an alternative to rail for the people of the community, although the neighborhood board supported it in discussion-wise. But I think there's a really disjointed effort in corresponding or in kind of relationship to the community, and I think the councilman has really ridden the train to the end of the tracks, and I kind of resent that we had no representation, nor have we had any kind of dialogue or discussion regarding the
rocks and dust. So with that, if there are any questions, be happy to answer them for you.
Okay, Ariel, and then Tom. You don't fight over it.
Since Senator Esparro mentioned about this schools,
yes,
I just want to forget to make the announcement earlier, and maybe you can invite them. James Campbell High School, the football team,
yes,
they won the OIA White Division champion. So maybe you could invite them for next month's meeting, to come down here and.
Okay, either December or January.
Either one.
Okay. Definitely we'll think about that. Put that together. Okay, and Tom, and then Steve.
Senator, this is in regards to Ms. Tesha Malama, who's the HCDA director for Kailua, that region of that district. And I'm looking at a map where the north-south road goes from H1 interchange through Kapolei Parkway at 6 lanes. And then there's a project here called DeBartolo, thank you, of DHHL, of where it's then to go to 2 lanes. Then after which, back to 6 lanes. So we're looking at a bottleneck in between the two. Ms. Malama has provided a comment that this board, when I was attending the Kailua advisory team meetings, that she was really lobbying hard to get the elected officials to know that this north-south road going all the way down to Keoneula Boulevard and making that connectivity so that the folks in Ocean Point don't have to go out Fort Weaver Road, go down Geiger to get out of Dodge. It would really be a great reliever off the traffic of Fort Weaver back into deep into Eva Beach.
Yes.
So the impetus here is that there's a lot of monies and attention that was going to need to go to finish up the north-south road. And you were chair of the AMPO Policy Committee for a stint. What kind of a status update can you give the community as some of the accomplishments in that 1 year? And in the ORTP 2030, of which is now going to accommodate the full 6 lanes down to Keoneula Boulevard. So I guess my question is in the ORTP 2030, did you make any amendments to provide for that north-south road would be a full 6 lanes, not scaled down to 2, but rather go from 6 lanes from the interchange all the way to Keoneula?
Well, the 6 lanes will be the first phase that you're talking about from H1 to Kapolei Parkway. That's what's currently being built, and the good news is that that is expected to open in January 2010. Okay. The problem with DOT and funding is that we are very limited in our resources. It cost us over $150 million for the north-south road, which is equivalent to the amount of money we get each year from the federal government. And so currently, from Kapolei Parkway going down to Roosevelt and then on the western edge of Ocean Point, that is not funded. That is currently being discussed. The portion from Kapolei Parkway to Roosevelt will probably be dealt with at the city level, because the Bartolo will be asked to build out that. And I expect that that will be at least 2 lanes, both directions. So that'll match what the north-south road will be when it opens. So eventually you'll have 4 lanes coming down from H1 all the way to Roosevelt, right. So thus individuals from Ever Beach will have 2 ways to get to the north-south road via Geiger, Roosevelt, north-south, and Kapolei Parkway, north-south road. The discussion from Roosevelt to Ocean Point, I think, is more important than the east-west road, which you keep pushing in your discussions. The east-west road is an important road, and we funded a portion of that, but that's primarily to assist the DHHL development, as you know. So to put that east-west road all the way to Fort Weaver, where it'll probably be near the old Fort Weaver Road, will assist Ever Beach, but not as great as extending the north-south road. So I would recommend that you and this board put your energies in helping us with the city, with the state, with everybody on that portion from the west part of Ocean Point to Roosevelt. I can't tell you at this stage when that will be or how quickly it will be. We're in the process of trying to figure out all of that right now. As you know, we have the ORTP review coming up, as well as the EVA development plan is being looked at again by the city and county. So we've brought tremendous funding and projects to the district in the last 5 to 10 years. Now we need to look at the second phase of this whole process, which will include many of these secondary roads that you're talking about, that we're talking about. And it's not going to be easy to get the additional 100, 200, $300 million, because we are competing with all of the other communities. So I don't know if that answers your question, but it is not in anything that OMPO has passed, because you need to get the buy-in from the state agencies and the city agencies, which you know, before anything will move forward and get the appropriate funding. And right now, the city and county and state, DOT and DTS are not looking at that as a top priority.
Chair, quick clarity here. The East-West Connector Road is a private matter. It does not involve the city or the state.
The state funded it, though. You know that, right? To $18 million.
Correct. And it ends in a cornfield. So I just want to bring clarity here, is that you made a comment that we shouldn't focus of priority on East-West Connector Road and rather focus on the north-south road. I just want to let you know that the private road through D.R. Horton's property, of which he used to work for, that money doesn't come from city or state. So clarity. East-West Connector Road is a priority to this board because we passed a motion for it to get the private developer to build the road. Doesn't come from tax dollars, doesn't come from the city or the state, doesn't come from OMPO. So when we're trying to get the north-south road, as Ms. Malama wants, all the way down to Keoneula, that is a priority of state monies. State monies. East-West Road, not tax dollars.
Well, we're going to try to get some fair money.
Not tax dollars, Senator.
Okay. But I'm saying you should change your focus, is what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
I think your focus is wrong.
You had a comment?
Yeah, before we end tonight, I have a request for all our state representatives. I would like to know what they've done in the last 6 years and what's accomplished. And I don't want to deal with what's down the pipeline or in the works or whatever. What they've accomplished for 2 specific areas in which dozens of people have asked me about, and that is real traffic relief, not just the words, but real traffic relief for EVA residents, as well as improvements in the older schools. What have all our representatives done in those 2 areas that's been accomplished and is finished with?
If I may answer that, since I'm the...
No. Next time.
Oh, I have the answers for you.
Okay, but we're running out of time.
If you give me two minutes, I can answer some.
I only got 2 minutes. Here's the problem that we have, and let me address this right now. We've been trying to get through this meeting. We do have a situation with keeping our neighborhood commission assistant on time, and also we're going to lose the TV coverage here as well. So we want to really move on. So I accept Steve's position there to chair that to next time. Yes. Quickly. Well, just let you know that clock is fast. That's okay. We're moving on anyway.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
As a community, can I respond?
If you can keep it real short. If you can keep it real short.
Senator talked about within the last 10 years of a rapid development.
Okay, but wait a minute. Was that a yes? You're going to keep it short?
Sure.
Thank you.
But as we go through this process, the
please go right to the question, please.
Yeah. As we go through the ever development plans, there are two roadblocks.
Questions, Glenn.
I guess, okay. Senator, oversight. There's two developers in the Everglades. The facilitating
and the question
development
is,
and community have no oversight. One is the Hawaiian Homelands.
The question is,
and the other one is HCDA, the community.
Glenn, I really appreciate.
What are you feeling? I'm getting to that question, sir. I mean, let me phrase the question first.
Everybody knows where you're going. Just make the question.
Okay, I just want to know what your feelings about those two entities, the two government agencies that are blocking the community from having oversight into the development on the Everglades.
Okay, good, thank you. That was exactly where we wanted to go.
Well, you give me a chance.
No. I understand. Yes, he was.
A few years ago, Glenn, I introduced a bill that would have DHHL at the very least attend the neighborhood board in which their project is being developed, or if the community does not have a neighborhood board, a community association meeting in the district, so that their development project can get a hearing and the community can provide input on that. DHHL was against that measure and it didn't pass to get through. I agree with you that DHHL at this stage, see, at the point where they were giving...
We'll get there.
Okay. And regarding HCDA, I do agree with you, but there is an authority now that oversees HCDA, and the public has an opportunity, as well as public officials elected to give their comments and input to that authority.
You want me to give you a response on that?
All right, excuse me.
No, I don't, Len.
My turn.
Excuse me.
My turn.
Thank you.
Don't ask me about HCDA.
All right, thank you. You got to have a dialogue. You guys can go outside and have a dialogue. Thank you very much. Rep. Cabanilla, thank you.
Yes. Good night, board. I'm glad to be here. I'm thankful to the community, the district that I'm back. Hot from the press. After each election, we have reconfiguration for all the committees at the state, and as of 2 o'clock this afternoon, I accepted the position as the chairwoman of Housing Committee. And also, I have transferred to the other bracket because I think the community needs me more to be on these committees as to the previous committees that I were in. I'm now a member of the Judiciary, Consumer Protection and Commerce, Energy and Environmental Protection, Water and Land and Ocean Resources. So I would like to highlight that I'm now the chair of the Housing Committee, and I would like you to help me make some improvements in the Everglades. So the legislature will open in the next 60 days. So if there's any legislative matters that you would like me to entertain for introduction, I'm open to that. I attach herewith the different committees. And there's some additions to the previous committees. I'm happy to say that there's now a committee on Hawaiian Affairs. And the committee chair to that is a representative that hailed from Ewa Beach. And born and raised, graduated from Campbell High School, Representative Melly Carroll. If you go through the committee members, you might notice that the Republican Party of the minorities, their names is not here. Perhaps Representative Pine will let us know. Like I said, it's at 2 o'clock. They did not submit their committee request. But I'm sure they will be putting that shortly. I attached a letter, since we're talking about the D.R. Horton. On my knocking on doors in the last 2 months, there's community issues that I have gathered. And one of which is that a lot of the people in my district want a dog park. I heard about the dog park in Hawaii Kai. So I wrote to D.R. Horton as well as the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. And I have not gotten a response from them, but I'm sure the community would like to have a dog park. And the response is that because they haven't had the land reclassification, and I'm sure all of you know that, and I know that too, but I just wanted to have a warning shot that that's something that, you know, I would be pushing to have. Also, I included that I would like to have a graffiti park. This is something that Canada had instituted and it had proven to be worthwhile to deter graffiti in the community. So I think we should have those too. I talk about community concerns. One of that you're familiar with is the traffic congestion on Laulaunui Street. If you're coming from Waipahu, you have to turn right on Laulaunui to the St. Francis property or Hawaii House property just to cross Fort Weaver Road to go to the community. And I did invite the DTS director to come and watch the site, make a tour of the area and see how congested it is. And I think the people in that community will have to have a major decision that they have to come up with amongst themselves. And this is certainly that I'll be polling the district and to see what it is that they want to do.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to summarize a little bit.
Huh?
Summarize a little.
Oh, you gave all the time to Senator Sparrow and now you're grudging me?
No, actually, everybody had the same time. It's just the question and answers after that got into a heated discussion.
Okay, all right. So I'll summarize. And the other issue, so that committee will have to have another, on the preliminary report, the committee will have to have another access, and it might have to come from the industrial side and the Waipahu side of it. A lot of people have called about complaining about the counterflow on Fort Weaver Road in the morning. Mauka side, or heading Mauka, that they closed the counterflow at 8:30 and they want it to be extended to 9 o'clock. And the response that I got from Hawaiian Dredging, the project manager, is that if they would cut it by half an hour, the counterflow, it would mean that they will not be able to deliver the opening of the Fort Weaver widening to Ava Road by March of 09. So they don't want to, they want to stick with the plan of closing the counterflow at 8:30. Also, there's concerns about when the widening project go between Rantom and what's the other street now? Kulawaka, that there will be a lot of dust to the gentry properties, and they said they'll have water truck to water the digging, so it won't be too dusty. Subject to your questions. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Ariel? Curly and then Steve.
Ms. Rob Cabanella, since this is going to be on your jurisdiction, before they do open up the road and make it to 3-lane on northbound, from that Laulaunui or from Ava Drive all the way down to Waipahu exit, okay? Can you ask the DOT to restripe the bridge, okay? The Farrington Highway overpass, the bridge, okay, that connects between Cunha Road and Fort River Road. Okay?
Yeah, we've made the request.
Yes, they can restripe that into 3-lane. Okay.
Well, the request that went walk-in has been turned in, and we're just waiting for them to give us the rendering. And they said that it will be sometime the election, so I expect it anytime.
Okay, let me finish myself. I sent a picture to Tom Berg and John Galliner back then and do some of the restriping in there. And I wasn't a board member back then. And back then it was like early part of April.
Yeah.
And now it's just, you know, next month is December. And they're going to open up the road in early January. So before they do open up the road, can you get them to restart that, by the bridge? At least we got 3 lane that goes to the...
Duly noted.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Kurt? We have a, wait, we have a time.
Sorry.
Freeze frame and we're about to lose video.
Well, thank you very much. Hold on. Okay. Oh.
Yeah, we're on freeze frame. Okay.
Yeah, since we're talking about the Fort River Road widening, the problem is not only the counterflow. The complaints you're having is that when they had brought this to the community and the previous widening that we had for Fort River Road, the developer was supposed to stay behind their working area. If you look on Fort River Road from where they start over here by Geiger, they have workers here, workers there, all plotted out different areas, digging different areas, doing whatever they're doing, and just coning it off. The problem with that is that when you cone off, people see cones, they slow down. By the time they get to these counterflows over this area, the traffic is already building up. So that's the frustration that they're having, is that it's not only the counterflow ending too early, is that they're not working behind the work area that they said that they was going to do on the project. That they was going to have these special medias, they're going to move them as they move the construction down the road. Or they're already up over here by Blockbuster area, digging the road with cones. So that's what we got to look into. Why are they working so far ahead of the project? 2, why they're not working behind the safety boundary zones that they said that they was going to do. And if they was going to do any changes, they should come to the community and let the community know. I understand they're going to say, oh, they're working for the state, so let the state come. But I feel this way, if you're the developer or you're the contractor, I think you contractors should come with the state and update this community on what you guys are doing on Fort River Road, because it's not an open mailing that I can go over there because I have permits from Fort River Road all up to Geiger. I can start opening up the can of worms and start digging all over the place because I got the permit. So can you look into that and why are they not?
Well, I think I'll do better. If you would like to put that on the agenda, I'll invite them to come and make a presentation themselves.
That's a very good possibility. Now for December, apparently we have a number of issues, and in fact a major issue that we're going to address on December, so possibly after the first of the year will be a good time frame.
Thank you.
Steve? Yeah, again, I'd like to reiterate my request for what you specifically have done in terms of finished accomplishments for EVA education and for Fort River Road traffic relief written down.
You want me to answer that now or later?
No,
okay.
I'd like it written down.
Okay.
Because I'd like to compare stuff to my reality versus your reality.
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, one last comment. Representative, I think you should be seriously talking about Ho'opili, the negatives about Ho'opili, and that should be your prime discussion, and not only to the community, but also in your own mind, how that's going to affect the people and impact the people of the beach.
Duly noted, yes.
Okay, thank you very much, Glenn. Any other members? No? Representative Pine. And thank you, Representative Cavanagh.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm still here for the evening. I want to thank everyone for allowing me this honor to serve you again as your state representative. I especially want to honor Kurt Fabella, who did such a great job in his campaign and worked very hard. And it's good to have opposition. It makes you want the job and work very hard. So thank you, Kurt, very much for all your hard work. couple of updates. I was promoted to the minority floor leader in my caucus, and so I'm really hoping that that will give Eva Beach a stronger voice, not just at the Capitol, but with the governor. Just want to educate Representative Cabanilla about that memo that she handed out. What happens after every election, the head of the Democrat caucus will release their committee members' assignments, and then Republicans will release theirs. That was only the Democrats releasing their memo. So I have not yet decided. I've been offered any committee that I want. But I have not decided which committees I want to be in. I'm very concerned with what the governor is going to do in the next 2 years because of the budget. I'm discussing with my colleagues whether they will allow me to free more time up in terms of serving on less committees, so I can really make sure that any of her departments do not recommend any cuts to the $600 million in capital improvement projects that we help to bring to Eva Beach for our schools and for traffic relief, for our social services. So you can give me some feedback on that after the meeting of what you think I should do, because I can serve on any committee. Fort River Road widening, we're going to open it up to AVA next month. I'm so excited. And we're going to get to Renton in March. As anyone knows, like me, who drives every day on that road, on Fort River Road, our trouble spot is Renton Road, and so when we get there and open that up, we're going to see a big difference. Met with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands about the new shopping mall. I'm very excited that it's going to take 5,000 jobs to build the project, as well as keep 5,000 jobs of people employed. I fought really hard for them to set up a plan to hire as many Eva Beach residents as possible to ensure that we can reverse the flow. And finally, a lot of concerns about UH West Oahu from a lot of people who've been seeing that in the cover of the Advertiser and Star Bulletin. It's still on track. Zoning has just been taking place to allow them to do, of course, more retail. And retail has not dropped like the housing market has, so there's still a high demand to put more retail and industrial parks and things like that in the area. Any questions?
Sure. Tom. You just heard in the meeting minutes, which will be incorporated, Senator Sparrow's comment that our focus should not be on the East-West Connected Road, that it should not be of priority, and we should redirect our efforts at not connecting the North-South Road corridor with the Fort Weaver Road corridor. You as an elected official, I'm counting on you to have a different of an opinion. And I would really appreciate it if you would provide comment of testimony to the State Land Use Commission and before the city and county council members that you would approve of, and I hope you would agree with this board's position, that we do everything in our power to get the private developer of D.R. Horton's Ho'opili project to expedite the East-West Connector Road. And so I'm looking forward to you, since our state senator, according to the meeting minutes, does not find that to be a priority. And I'm saddened by that. So I'm hoping that you can pick up the reins and take leadership of that road for this community.
Actually, it's on the top of our list, top 10 things this session to, at least the next 4 months to work on.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Board members, Steve?
Yeah, I would make the same request of you, Rep. Pine, that you bring to us in writing what's been completed and not what... I had a lot of problems with these things. I mean, it's like our reality is... My reality, people have talked to me, their reality, I'm talking about dozens of people, is very different. So I'd like to know what you've actually accomplished, not what's in the books or positive, not pie in the sky stuff, just what actually has been done.
Bringing $600 million to this district is a huge accomplishment, Mr. Miller.
I'd like, but you're fighting for that right now, right? You're fighting
I want to make sure it does not get cut.
Didn't you just say that? You're fighting
I want to make sure that no one cuts it.
Did you just say that you're fighting to keep that?
I want to make sure that
no
no
more dialogue.
one cuts it.
Either answer the question. Done? Okay.
Yeah, she's not going to answer my question.
Okay.
I would love to
other...
answer your question.
Okay.
I would love to talk about everything in my flyers that are all factual and correct.
Okay. Any other
Questions from the board? Okay. Rep. Cavanaugh?
Well, I just want to make a comment on the east-west connecting road. I think that if the VR Ports and Development does come to fruition and they do have that reclassification that they're seeking for, I think all of us in this room agrees that east-west connecting road is a very vital link to the community. I think what Senator Sparrow is trying to say is that we are just putting a warning shot right now. It's not time for discussion because they're not approved. And all my conversations with them, they always say, we don't have the reclassification. We have no rights to build homes. But I think that we all agree it's important if DR Portland does get what they want to get. I stand against it. I'd rather keep it vacant and not an east-west connector road with no houses in it.
Okay, thank you.
Well said, well said.
Thank you. Okay, this...
Mr. Chair, can I make one last comment?
We got enough tape?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in the near future, I think the politicians and the community has to get together and make this area what it was zoned for, a second city. If we're gonna just pussyfoot it and let everybody come in this and create bedroom communities, we won't have a second city. We'll have a bedroom community. So I think it's a strategy amongst all the politicians as well as the boards and the community people to engage in a discussion how we're going to make this area a second city, which is the primary function of this area, a second city. So we got to be engaged. We got to get engaged and talk about and if we do talk about the second city, then the roads and all the infrastructure will come up. We got to have a balance. We got to have a balanced growth in this area. We got to have a sustainable growth. Not bedroom communities and let everybody move back to town. I think you're on the right track, Representative.
I agree with that question.
I think we got to create this second city, not discuss everything else that leads beyond what the real intent of this area that was zoned for, a second city. Which means that the infrastructure, the facilities, and everything else has to be in place, and we got a big discussion ahead of ourselves. And they got to take the lead, and we got to input.
Okay, and we hope to support them in that. Thank you, Rep. Ryan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, last comment. Hold on a second. All right, last comment. First of all, let me say this to all in reference to, and not for you specifically, but for everybody. All of our elected officials, to include Councilman Poe, which I know he's not here this evening. In the future, we want to make sure, first of all, that our elected officials stay to the time period which we have allocated and designated on the agenda, and make sure that we stick to that as much as possible. We need your help to help us get through these meetings in a timely fashion. We got our neighborhood commission that's leaving. We have the TV crew that's going to close down. We need to be able to make sure that we terminate our actions for this board, for this community, not later than 10 o'clock. And to tell you the truth, that's too long. Okay? That's from my particular point of view. Now, with that, I'm going to ask all of our elected officials, Councilman Poe, Senator Sparrow, Representative Pine, Representative Cabanilla, to, again, limit your comments not more than 3 points on your agenda. And hopefully, I'm asking that you summarize those reports to stay within your 3-minute time frame. We know we're going to have questions from the community, and that's going to drag it on a little bit more. But if you can stick to that, that'll help us enforce our time period to keep our questions to a limit. Okay? Also, with that, I'd like to encourage our elected officials. First of all, let me say congratulations to your election and getting your seats. And with that, I want to encourage you to try to make sure that you focus on the EVA community and the actions that will benefit the residents in this community. We need your help. We are the voice of the community. You need to hear us.
and take that to the areas of legislative that we can hopefully forward our concerns there and get some results for this community. As has been noted in several meetings before, up to this date, including this meeting, it seems that EVA has been passed over on a number of issues, a number of times for forever, for a while, quite a while. Okay. Hopefully, this community can make a difference with your support and move forward and put us back, so to speak, on the map, get us back in the forefront of whatever is going on out there, and make sure that people do not bypass us, forget us, and will be included with some of these issues. And this includes the Department of Education, all the way up and down the ladder, because I feel in the time that I've been in this chair that we have been sidestepped. In effect, we've been ignored in some cases. And I say that personally because I've written several letters and I've had very little response. And I need your support as our elected officials for Eva Beach to make sure that we get what we require as a community. Okay, thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, Mitch.